On this week's episode of The Video Store, Frank goes on a Midsommar vacation, Josh drinks a 9-pack with the boys, and finally we bury the pet cemetery in the movies that suck Semetary.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was busy pre-ordering my tickets for Cats. Welcome to the Video Store Podcast. Every week we review movies, TV shows, and other things that we've been watching as we look ahead at what's streaming on demand, out for rental, and in theaters. My name is Frank. I'm the one who reads the episode summaries.
My name is Josh, and I put things about butt punching in the summaries.
Yeah, as you tried to sabotage unsuccessfully the podcast.
Pretty successfully.
Yeah. Let's start the podcast off with something more wholesome than butt punching. A tradition in Josh's household with some thoughts and trailers. As I've been saying, I don't watch a lot of trailers anymore. If I feel like I'm going to like a movie, I avoid it. So I have thoughts, though.
Although you put up all these fucking trailers.
Yeah, I mean, we're post-Comic-Con, so there was a lot of announcements. We could have done an entire episode on, upcoming movies and their teaser trailers.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. One trailer that I cannot avoid is Ready or Not. Every time I go see a movie, this trailer's featured. This movie's going to be out in August 21st. It's about a bride's wedding night that takes a sinister turn when her eccentric new in-laws force her to take part in a terrifying game. Have you seen this trailer, Josh?
I watched all these trailers that I hadn't seen in preparation for this moment right now. And yes.
Okay, what do you think?
Oh, okay. Well, it was, I don't know, it was okay. It seems like a clever ploy on children's games and kind of fun, little violent. I watched the Red Band trailer. I don't know if you saw that.
I did too. Yeah, I've seen both.
I only saw that one. It seems okay. Nothing crazy. Something that looks like a good time filler. Is that Margot Robbie there doing stuff?
No, it's Samara Weaving. It does really resemble Margot Robbie a lot. She was in, what would you know her from? She's in 3 Billboards. She played Frances McDormand's ex-husband's girlfriend. She's also in The Babysitter and Mayhem. Oh,
wait, The Babysitter? Like she was the evil babysitter?
Yeah, B.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Then I do recall her.
Yeah, I like her a lot. I think she's interesting. You pick a lot from this trailer. I feel like you get the sense of humor. The sense of danger is played really well. And Samara Weaving seems like a very sympathetic character you can get behind in that. I'm also excited that Andie MacDowell, one of my favorite actresses, is in this. Got a really good supporting cast, and you just kind of catch the vibe off of this trailer, which is hard to do.
The cast is fire.
Yeah, so that's like a must-see for me. I'm definitely going to see that.
I'm down to see that.
Cool. Up next is a movie that I would hope to avoid the trailer for, because at this point, Taika Waititi films are must-sees for me, and I'm going to check out all this stuff. JoJo Rabbit is pretty controversial because the story is about a young boy in Hitler's army finds out that his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in the home. Is
it Anne Frank?
Yeah, baby. It says an anti-hate satire all over the poster, and it's trying to get out in front of the fact that when you're dealing with Hitler, who's played by actor Taika Waititi, that there's going to be some people that just going to avoid that topic. Did you check out the trailer?
I did, and it kind of has a Wes Anderson vibe to it.
Okay.
In a way that I don't see how this could be really offensive. I mean, of course, when you're using Hitler, everyone gets all up in arms. But I think I've seen it enough to this point that when you do hateful characters and you do them well from a different perspective, they're quite interesting. I don't know if you saw The Preacher.
Yeah.
You ever watched it? They had a Hitler character in there, and he works at a Starbucks or some shit at one point, and it's this really hilarious version of him. But I really got definitely some kind of quirky Wes Anderson type vibes from it. And I think it's interesting that the director himself said, hey, let's not put somebody else on blast for playing Hitler. I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, you're talking about the costume design, the settings look very detailed,
it kind of had that Moonrise Kingdom vibe because they were almost like Boy Scouts and shit.
Cool. Yeah, I think anyone that's familiar with
they were hate warriors, but you know.
Yeah, like he tries to like, you know, I think he has care with his characters and he has a good message, and you know, using Hitler and you know, Hitler's youth as a backdrop is pretty interesting, pretty challenging. I'm looking forward to see what he does with it, and it's going to be out October 18th.
Boom.
Invader Zim, which I was a fan of. Were you a fan of like Johann Vasquez comic books and Invader Zim?
I like Gurr.
Yeah, Gurr is great.
Everybody loves Gurr. But then it became such like a hot topic representation of like, if you like Invader Zim, you like fucking Hot Topic or something. I don't know. It just, the vibe of the show blew up like, I don't know, that if you ever go see a band that you were a fan of, and then you see the crowd that kind of follows that band and go, you know, I don't know if I'm a fan of this anymore.
Yeah, toxic fandom, gatekeepership, those things are annoying. Like people's, it's like the entitled consumer, like that, you know, quotations.
You were an outcast if you watched Invader Zim. No, it was just a fun show. Shut up.
I hate that shit. Like fan culture, like what's a real fan? I worked at GameStop for almost a decade, so like the whole I'm a real gamer shit. Like it's annoying. Like yeah. But Invader Zim.
Yeah, all of it. Remember Homeboy and his if you ever said like Deuce XXX, you would die.
But yeah, that's kind of like what Rick and Morty has become. But there wasn't as much internet culture like
at the time
to fuck with this. Yeah, for sure. But it's like it's a smart cartoon, you know. You just don't get it. But I loved the show when it came out, and I'm curious to see how I feel about the movie Invader Zim: Enter the Florpus, which comes out August 16th. It's a Nickelodeon release. It's going to be on streaming services.
It's going to be in 3D.
I don't think so.
Damn, that would be kind of cool.
It would be, but I'm going to check it out. I'm curious about how I'll feel about this world and these characters.
Yeah. I got no qualms with it. Something else that could be a callback and some time filler for something fun. And it's, I don't know. People just try and they'd be like, I understand the show. I'm like, yeah, a lot of people understand it and there's people who don't. Whatever. Enjoy it.
For real. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Just like let people enjoy what they enjoy. There's no need to like whatever people.
I do shit on people for like I have personal perspectives on people that watch terrible things and then enjoy those. I'm like, wow, really? Like people that watch like Atlanta Housewives and shit.
Yeah, like, for sure. I mean, yeah, I've gotten better at that. I was definitely a snob about movies and entertainment, but you know, whatever people need to do to like escape from their shitty job or whatever they got going in their life, more power to them. I'm just not about, like you said, the reality TV and shit like that.
It's just, how can it be fun to watch other people's drama to escape from your own drama? Like, I don't know. But okay.
All right.
Why do you sit on me like a therapist listening? Like,
I'm just paying attention.
Interesting. Let me write that down. Let's move on.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. So I feel like this one is, for me personally, too close to the Mr. Rogers documentary. I don't need another Mr. Rogers movie, but maybe you differ. This is based on the true story of Fred Rogers and his friendship with journalist Tom Janode. And I'll admit, Tom Hanks playing Fred Rogers, he looks like he fits in very comfortably in a role.
Yes, give me Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers. This is probably just meant to be. You couldn't stop this train from coming.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's perfect casting. It just feels like, I don't know, like it fits all too well. Like I hope the movie is good because you put him in the sweater and you really didn't even need to have a trailer for this and people are in, like just from the idea, you know.
Maybe it's the next Forrest Gump. We don't know.
Possibly. And I also had me thinking, I can't remember the last time I like had to see a Tom Hanks movie.
Exactly. That's exactly my point. I'm just happy he's back doing something big.
I miss Captain Phillips, which I'm sure is fine. Sully, like, yeah, he used to be must see. And for me personally, I just haven't checked out his stuff in a while.
Yeah, we need some more Hanks in our lives and some more Denzel.
And that one is going to be out November 22nd. It's going for definitely Oscar bait. It's going to be a big holiday movie for sure. It is going to be a movie that is you could bring the whole family to, I would assume.
Yeah, if it's not, I would be fucking surprised. If they say the word fuck in that movie, I'll be surprised.
Up next, a trailer I did actually watch because I had no interest in seeing Cats. This is another holiday release. It's going to be out December 20th this year. It's about a tribe of cats called the Jellicles must decide yearly which one will ascend to the Heaviside layer and come back to the new Jellicle lot. Like, I don't know what those words are. You're either super familiar with this because it was a Broadway hit for decades. It's like the, when you bring up Broadway and musical plays, everyone thinks of Cats. It's $1 billion property. So eventually it was going to be made into a movie in this very similar to like what Disney's doing with Lion King and Aladdin, the CGI, heavy CGI using real life people's faces. Honestly, dude, I didn't think the cats looked that bad. I don't know what people expected them to look like, human cat hybrids. But I don't know. It looks weird. I could see myself getting high and going to see this.
Okay, good for you. You'll be there by your fucking self. Frank, for a guy that loves cats, like real cats, I fucking hate cats. I don't care this has never seemed like an appealing watch for me, and all of the satirical representations as I've seen of this over the years, I give zero fucks. But Peach, I love you.
Yeah, it reminds me of
love my cat.
Of Avatar in a couple of ways. One, I feel like when Avatar came out, the characters were kind of off-putting and people were like, this is going to tank just by the way it looks. And then two, like Cats is this thing like Avatar that's made so much money, but I feel like it's outside of our mainstream culture for how much money these things have made. I don't know anyone that's seen Cats. Like, who talks about it?
All the buffs out there are going to be in the theater like, oh my God, I can't believe they're finally doing it.
Yeah. Well, there's also that thing where musicals have just been crushing it lately. You just put out a mediocre musical and people are going to go out to see it.
Yeah, you'll get some money.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I might see
it. Give me that kitty money.
I wouldn't call it a hate watch, but just going to check out a train wreck type thing. It's so weird looking, but I'm curious. I think it'll be entertaining, maybe, and not the way the filmmakers intended, but I think I might have an interesting time with that one.
Frank wants cats.
Yep. Zombieland Double Tap is our final selection for thoughts and trailers. This is coming out October 18th. I'm excited for this. It's been rumored since the first one came out a decade ago that there would be a sequel. This reunites the director, Ruben Fleischer, with the main cast, Emma Stone, Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, and Abigail Breslin. I most recently I think on our last episode, saw Zombieland, said it held up. It's funny. It's a good time. You remembered it being, and I'm down for this. I don't need to see a trailer. I hope to avoid it.
The trailer doesn't really tell you too much. I think you can watch it anyways and you're not going to be worried about the movie being enjoyable. I think there's one really clever, funny hybrid scene that I don't really want to discuss with you since you don't want any knowledge of it. But of course, it's going to be fun. It's going to be great. It's going to be another zombie flick of justice with some great zombie kills and Woody Harrelson looking for Twinkies. So let's do it. Yeah, and it's cool. Like a decade out, that everyone I've talked to is really excited about this movie. That this story and these characters are still relevant and people want it. And good on them for taking their time. And I hope it was the great script comes out of it in a good movie, that they didn't rush it out right after to try to just push out and make some money. I don't think so. It looks like it's going to be a good following. And honestly, this is a movie I could see doing 5 or 10 of these because they have no, serious storyline and you could live in that world for a while. Where you have some of these other terrible movies that have kind of lived on in sequels of like 5, 10, and 15 of like the Gingerbread Man or some dumb shit or whatever. Mm-hmm. It would be cool that they would have a movie. The last one we've seen was like Saw. Saw had like 15 fucking movies. And is being rebranded. Chris Rock owns the property. Exactly. So that whole thing, I could totally see this movie carrying on a world of characters that even could pass on from the initial characters at some point, and I wouldn't mind watching Zombieland 8 or 9. I suspect that if it's really successful, it will do what a lot of things do. It'll have like a streaming series attached to it, like a Zombieland streaming series. Yeah, I wouldn't be as big of a fan of that. I'd rather see a bunch of fucking movies over the course of time in its own Zombieland world. I'm tired of these shows that become episodic based on movies, and they're harder to give a shit about when they don't gracefully exit from the main characters, when it's just abrupt and it's like, hey, meet Tom, Billy, and Bob, who are now dropped in Arkansas in the same world.
Yeah, and let's talk about some streaming series and movies that we saw, and maybe we can convince our audience to give a shit about them.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not very convincing, Frank.
Well, practice makes perfect. I saw a documentary that I was unaware of on Amazon Prime called I Need You to Kill. It follows 3 American comics, Chad Daniels, Pete Lee, 2 that I was unfamiliar with until I saw this documentary, and Tom Segura, who I'm a big fan of and is the big reason I checked this out. They go on a 6-show tour through 3 of the world's newest stand-up comedy scenes, Hong Kong being one of them, Singapore, and Macau. The film explores the anxieties and surprises of taking your act halfway across the world, as well as giving a ground floor glimpse into Asia's newest growth industry, stand-up comedy. So yeah, it was a cool fish out of water concept. It's written and directed by a fellow comedian, J. Elvis Weinstein, his first ever film. And if you're a fan of stand-up like I am, it's like, it's a well-shot, interesting documentary as well. It was just like catnip for me because I'm really into stand-up comedy, and it was really interesting to see how these guys were super uncomfortable and how they catered their routine around the the environment. And it was just a really good time. Good jokes in there, so you got some good stand-up along, as well as a great documentary, and it's an employee pick for me.
Okay, well, maybe something I need to check out. I like Tom Segura.
Yeah, it's called
fucking funny.
I Need You to Kill, and it's on Amazon Prime.
You need.
Mm-hmm.
You need me to kill?
Yes.
Okay. Well, Frank, I downed an entire series again.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you. I'm here for you. The Boys. Amazon Prime just came out, I think, maybe the 25th or so. Very ridiculous show. I saw a screener episode at Alamo Drafthouse. I don't know if you recall me doing a light review on that.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So this is kind of about a group of vigilantes set out to take down corrupt superheroes who abuse their superpowers. So you have this conglomerate named Vought, who's one of the president people that runs it is Elizabeth Shue, which I think was a really great pick. And Simon Pegg shows up as the father of a character, which I loved immediately. There's just a lot of great different characters that show up. So the main kid, his name is Huey, and played by Jack Quaid, which I'm going to assume that's Dennis Quaid's son.
Oh, and we know how much you love the Quaids.
Yeah. So that was a good find for me. But the show, all in all, has these great, ridiculously fucked up characters and these just really balls to the wall gone. Like, you think Deadpool, but think even no morality, like zero morality. Like, not even that hint.
Breaking news, he is the son of Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
He's got mail. Carl Urban plays this crazy vigilante FBI agent, kind of somewhat something or another. And it follows 2 different storylines. The storyline of Annie, who plays Starlight, a superhero that just recently was joined into the group of the Seven, the conglomerate superhero group that saves everyone, kind of runs the show. And Elizabeth Shue is kind of trying to sell these superheroes to different states, countries, like contractually to, profit, make money. It's a business. These superheroes are a business to them. I don't want to get super in-depth of too much about these characters, but it's visually crazy, ridiculous, fun script, great characters. There's really not too much to hate here. I would say certain parts, maybe the character development gets a little further along, but really no problems here. The guy that plays the Aquaman of the group, named The Deep, he's just, as you would think, he is kind of treated shit. And, they only give me fucking water missions. There's a fucking dock or a fucking jetty or a lake or river, and he's just, having a good time. But all in all, it's a really fun comedic show with a lot of packed action and crazy shit. Can't wait for another season for sure. It'll be super awesome.
Cool. It seems like it's a very inside baseball pokes fun at superheroes, which was definitely relevant when the comic book came out, but I think it's like Deadpool is going to be something that fans of the movies and series that maybe not were huge comic book fans will look to and appreciate, like the Aquaman type jokes. Like comic book wise, that shit might be like played into the ground, but for someone who just watches movies and shows about it, I think it's relevant and it's a good thing to have.
Right, and I believe it's kind of like an alternate universe where you have characters similar to ones that exist in this day, but they're just not the same. Like the guy who runs the show Homelander, he's basically Captain America, but he's not. And so they have these characters that are very similar to ones in worlds that wouldn't have this type of violence and ridiculous shit in it. So if you can't get over that, this isn't for you. But just enjoy an alternate, mature reality with some crazy characters that follow some pretty interesting shit, man. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and did you binge it all, or how'd you watch it?
I watched 7 out of 8 in one day. And then I finished the last one up the following day because I think I passed out.
Damn. Did you rewatch the first one again? Because I know there's like 9 total.
I didn't, and I'm going to anyways later. But I didn't. I started right in at the second episode. That's how I rolled.
I like that it's 9. It makes me feel like it's going to be like the anti-Marvel show in many ways, where they don't overdo it. I don't understand why people do that in streaming, because it's not like you've got commercials wrapping around these things, and each episode is like an individual, profit maker for you. So I don't know why they do that. But I'm looking forward to that one. And 9 episodes, that feels very bingeable, something you can knock out in a weekend. So that's cool.
It's really fucking good. You'll love it.
Cool. I ventured out to the theaters a couple times this week. I've been slacking. Summer.
You left your house.
Yeah, I left my house. That's cool. Watched a movie about a character who's afraid to leave his house. Thanks for the segue. The Art of Self-Defense is about a man who's attacked randomly on the street. He enlists in a local dojo led by a charismatic and mysterious sensei in an effort to learn how to defend himself. This stars Jesse Eisenberg, Alexandro Nivola, who is a character you recognize his face, and a favorite of mine, Imogen Poots.
Imogen Poots. Love that name.
Yeah, she's great. Love the actress. I guess this movie, I wasn't aware. A lot of people hate Jesse Eisenberg, as I've been reading.
Really?
And it's like, I think he's just so uncomfortable to watch for some people. But to me, he's a great choice for this character. Someone who is like scared to live. He gets walked all over at his work. He's like best friends with his boss because like he's the only one I think that would befriend his boss in that job, and vice versa. And he goes to walk out for some dog food. He has a little cute dog, and he gets jumped, beaten nearly to the end of his life, and Sans leads him to go to this karate school that teaches him about self-defense in the physical way, but also the mental way. And he has this sensei who's very much like a Tyler Durden type character that just rips him up, is brutally honest with him and changes his life. And you watch this guy turn into a sensitive, thoughtful, but scared of the world character to an aggro and toxic masculine type character. So it's like a Fight Club type story. I hate to compare something to a movie that's like so universally known, but without all the Project Mayhem stuff, without all the politics, it's more about the individual. Like imagine a Jack type character where it's all literal. It's not like in his head, and it's not about big picture. It's just about that type of guy. And I think how you relate to that might determine how you feel about the movie. I think some negative reactions are people that relate to the character and it hurts their feelings. If that, it's just straight.
How fucking dare you make me feel honest about myself?
Yeah, I've seen that before where and it'll come up with another review today where some people are just not emotionally prepared to take that hit to the ego, and their self-esteem becomes involved in a character. And if they relate to that, yeah.
Oh, did I ruin it for you?
No, you're good. But it's an employee pick for me. I think is a very unique story. It did a lot of interesting things and kept me guessing along the way, which I value, and something I would really recommend.
I really want to see it, and I'm pissed that you saw it before me. So fuck you. But that's okay. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. Okay, so because of our book club, Frank, that I thought was like a mutual agreement, apparently it's a one-sided situation at the moment.
Yeah, so I'll break in and tell people what he's talking about. Josh, like many of my friends, keeps recommending TV shows for me to watch, and I'm very difficult to start a TV show. Very difficult to convince to start a TV show.
As am I sometimes.
Yeah. So we have like this little book club, TV club thing going on, and I'm going to do Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective, and he is detective agency, and he's doing Fargo. I've seen one episode of Dirk Gently, and Josh has watched the entire season 1 of Fargo. I will hit you guys with the generic description, then Josh, I'll let you go off. This is set in, this is Fargo Season 1, by the way, set in January 2006. This season follows hitman Lauren Malvo Thornton, Billy Bob Thornton, who stops at a hospital in Bemidji, Minnesota, following a car accident and influences local, mild-mannered insurance salesman Lester Nygaard, played by Martin Freeman, with his violent and deceptive ways. Their meeting sets off a fourth of series of murders throughout the city.
Yeah, I don't know if they set off. More like Billy Bob Thornton set off everything. Well, yeah, I guess Martin Freeman kind of had his own thing going on, but it was pretty intense. I do like that they set it in under that circumstance, but the show could have had its own name. It didn't have to be tied to Fargo, particularly. It was dramatic, deep. It really made me like the girl that played the sheriff, or not the sheriff, I'm sorry, the cop that was investigating the crime most of the time, because I've only seen her in one other show, and I really didn't like her in that show. She was in Good Girls. But all in all, it's really fun. It's violent. It's dark. The characters are quirky and fun, and the balance of these mild-mannered characters going through some of the most extreme situations possible. I enjoyed it. It's thoroughly fun. I'm going to do another season. I'm going to probably knock out all these seasons before Frank finishes one. That's okay. It's not a race. But I won if it is.
So passive-aggressive, though. Yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. I think they're very well written, and I think they deal with the punishment, the crime and punishment. So like when people meet their maker, like the way that karma is played out in these Fargo stories is like so like Shakespearean, like so dramatic and just blunt force trauma in many cases. I love it.
Yeah, or gun-faced trauma was also, I mean, that scene where they're in the elevator and he's like, is this what you want? Yeah, I love the tension. Also, like, Noah Hawley is the creator of this, and he also does Legion, and he, like, hangs out in, like, some filmmakers are, like, uncomfortable in those moments, and I think he just, like, is very comfortable, just gets real comfortable in those moments, and the way... The comfort of uncomfortable. Yeah, just lets you sit in it. You're like, get me out of here. But just like, yeah, no, I'm good with it, because I like the tension. Like, I like thick, dripping tension. It's really fun because you never know what's going to happen next in those moments sometimes. Like, you always have some idea in your head, but when it takes a different direction, you're always, blown away by that. So it's that unexpected, unnecessary, gratuitous violence and fun dialogue and interesting characters and people that show up that make this stand alone. So, yeah. It's interesting that you told me so. Like that, I think it's a good idea that they did not have this as a continuous storyline with the same characters. I think they did a good job of telling a full story in a season. Yep, and that's what I've actually watched it season 2, season 1, season 3. So yeah, you can watch them. There's some connection between the seasons, but not in a way that you can't just watch them out of order. Right. So, yeah, employee pick, but I'm down. I'm going to keep it going. Cool. Going to Fargo to season 2.
I'll let that slide.
Yes!
I finally saw one of my most anticipated films of the year, Midsommar, written and directed by Ari Aster, who pretty much was creating this movie as his debut film, Hereditary, was out and just gaining all the hype and acclamation. This one is similar in many ways. It deals with personal trauma in a horror setting and some cultish stuff, but where Hereditary like creeps you out in the darkness, Midsommar just keeps everything out in the open and in the daylight, which was a really interesting choice. The story is about a couple that travels to Sweden to visit a rural hometown of a fabled midsummer festival that their friend and college buddy came from. It begins as an idyllic retreat and quickly devolves into an increasingly violent and bizarre competition at the hands of this pagan cult.
Competition?
Yeah, so this movie, Ari Aster wrote this as he was going through a terrible breakup, and it is...
Is he just murdering women in there, or what?
It is an essential breakup movie. No, it deals with this couple played by Florence Pugh, who's like the main actress, and she is fucking awesome in this. I'm trying to think what you would recognize her from. Some stuff that I wasn't familiar with. She was in Lady Macbeth. She was in Commuter as like a small role.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, she looks very familiar. I think she's going to be like a huge up and comer. It reminds me of like a Jennifer Lawrence in Mother type role, where you are just following around this character as her life is falling apart. And her boyfriend, who's played by, I think, is it Jack Rayner? Yeah, Jack Rayner. He's kind of like if Seth Rogen never ate a carb and like tried to build abs. He's got like this like Seth Rogen vibe, okay. But he's like more of a hunky youngy version. They're a couple that's on the verge of breakup, seemingly. Like he doesn't want to be with her, and it's a good cautionary tale of like, if you don't want to be in a relationship, get the fuck out, because people are going to deal with some real life trauma, which she does. And if you're not there for that person, maybe you should just, if you don't feel like you could be there for someone, don't be in a relationship. And then, so they go on a trip together, and their relationship weaknesses.
Frank.
Yeah, their weaknesses are played out in such a way that I've heard this movie has led to people self-examine their self and examine their partner and the
break
relationship
up with people.
Yeah, it's a big time breakup movie. So be careful if you like enjoy your relationship.
If you're currently on some risque ground, maybe this is not the one. Go check out Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, but I watched it solo for that reason. Just like, it's a good movie to watch by yourself. Not a date movie at all, so do not mistake it for that. But yeah, dude, I really loved it. It's one of my favorite films of the year. It's 2.5 hours. So that's another warning for audiences out there. But yeah, just beautifully shot, terrifically acted. Like Florence Pugh puts this movie on her shoulders and just carries it. And you just like, it's very conflicting, her character and the story itself. Take what you want out of the morals of it, but just I think like a masterpiece horror movie, and a pick for maybe my favorite film of the year. It's definitely in the competition for that, a contender.
Okay.
Yeah,
it is a contender. Coming out in 2019, Midsommar, weighing in 215 pounds, undefeated at
225 minutes. Yeah, or whatever. 2 hours or 25 minutes.
Yeah. That's cool. Interesting. Something eventually I'll check out. Who knows when? Someday, some year, sometime. So I watched a terrible movie. So started off there.
Get out in front of it.
You can get out in front of it. Kidnapping, Stella, or My Time. Snatched off the street and held for ransom, a bound and gagged woman uses her limited powers to derail her two masked abductors' carefully laid plans. Okay, sure. Now I've got no qualms with this being a dubbed over movie, being foreign, no problems with that. I watched it because it appeared on Netflix somewhere and went, fuck it. It is not a great watch. Kind of falls in the category of The Basement, which I had reviewed at some point, of your generic attempting suspenseful movie with not really a good storyline. I would say the best thing about this movie is it's these two dudes. There's the one guy who's kind of the weak sauce, and then there's the guy who's the head honcho. Mm-hmm. His name is Clemens Schick. Dude looks like a fucking like German fucking Jake Gyllenhaal. German Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal. You should check him out. He's got piercing eyes and that deep set, like just shadowy fucking. This dude could definitely kidnap Stella. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
If you're Stella, you would let him kidnap you?
Yeah, probably.
Sounds like it, man. Yeah. Sounds like you're into him.
Yeah, you bound my wrists. My wrists. Yeah, all in all, pretty shite movie. Came out from Germany, apparently. That's, I guess, why we have Jake Gyllenhaal. And he's pretty awesome. And I could see him being very suspenseful in roles. But this movie did not hold any real water and kind of fails. So, piece of trash. But if you like piercing blue eyes, watch this movie.
Interesting. I'm going to pass.
That's all I got.
Sounds like it's a don't do it unless you want to be,
mystified by Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, mystified by Clemens Schick. I got a quick review on my next one. I watched a shitty horror movie too. I watched 2019's Pet Semetary, and boy, was that movie fucking boring. I couldn't even finish it, dude. But
it's fucking terrible, right?
I got to a point where I comfortably.
Thank God, someone else said it.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, "There's no way this movie's going to redeem itself." It's just so dull.
It's boring as fuck, right?
Yeah,
like, you could literally skip through the first like 45 minutes of that movie without issues.
Yep, and I feel bad because I bought it on sale digitally. I was like, "Oh, 4K movie for $5.99."
Got him. Yeah. Would you watch a 4K pile of shit on TV for an hour and a half? If you would, buy that Cemetery.
Don't even Redbox it. It's not even worth. If you got a free Redbox coupon, it's not even worth the trip to the store. It's not.
It sucks because what's his name? The guy who played the main homie,
Jason Clarke. I like him.
Jason Clarke. I like. That's what I'm saying. I like Jason Clarke.
Lithgow. Yeah, I think
he could totally be terrifying and evil, but of course that wasn't his role. I don't know. Just. Fuck, man. You have all of the tools to make a fucking good movie, and then you make this weak piece of shit. Thanks.
Yeah. I think, and we've combined seeing all the Stephen King movies that have come out in the past couple of years, this new renaissance of Stephen King stuff. I think it's the worst one, by far. You think Gerald's Game was it 1922? It was great. Like, this is bad.
Yeah, it's not good. I don't know. What did he do? That Pandora's or the Box? Was that him? No, that was fucking Darren Aronofsky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. Well, here we are.
Don't do it. Just save your money, save your time. I know it's appealing because you just go watch the original one or watch anything else.
Something that was way more scary.
Yeah. The last one for me this week, Josh, is my work was really slow, and I was like, I guess I'm going to watch some Netflix on Friday.
It's nice for you to put that on this recorded podcast.
Those assholes don't listen. Didn't want to do 90 minutes of slacking off, but as I was waiting for phone calls and emails, I watched Aziz Ansari's new special right now, where he discusses, all where he's been, his personal insights, and takes on things since his last special. For context, I'm a big fan of his previous stuff. I really like his show, Master of None. I think that's his best work. So I felt he came off a little rusty and out of touch comedically. There were some moments I laughed, but overall, I was disappointed in this one. He did some interesting things where the camera is up on him. Like, it's like about a foot away as he sits on a stool, and you can see backstage. You can see like the kitchen door open and all this stuff. But to give you like a perspective that you couldn't get if you went there, it didn't feel like I was at the show. I felt like I was sitting on the stage, like, and looking
just
up at him.
Staring in his eyes.
Yeah, I thought like, I just wasn't into it. It's not even about like the controversy around, like, I know, anyone that pays attention to him. Like, there was a story about an interaction with him, like a date and how it went, and he explained his side of that. It's not even about whether or not I thought he did a good job, and I believe his explanation now is just the comedy. The comedy was just like, nah, not my thing.
Fuck you, Ronnie.
So it's a take it or leave it. I mean, I am / was a fan of his stuff. I'm just a way more bigger fan of his show than his stand-up comedy at this point, I feel like.
Huh. Okay. I still think he's funny, dude, but I haven't seen it, so it could be lukewarm. Yeah, I have no clue.
Yeah, it's a pass for me. Watch I Need You to Kill over that if you're looking for some stand-up.
Okay. Done. I also dipped my fingers in some pies of Good Omens. It's a show on Amazon Prime.
It's a big one. I don't know. A big one. They've been pushing this. The Neil Gaiman adaptation.
Yeah, I tried, and it tasted like sauerkraut, which to me is shit, so I couldn't. I went through about an episode, and I just could not get there on these characters to give a fuck. Michael Sheen seems lovely and nice, but I don't know. I just couldn't do it. I don't know what it is about this show, but it just comes off and doesn't grab me in any way to say, you know what? You want to watch episode 2.
Yeah, this one stars David Tennant and Michael Sheen, who I think have very similar energy overall. And you got Frances McDormand in there. It's a Armageddon tale, right? It's got features an angel, a demon, and an 11-year-old Antichrist.
Yeah, and they're kind of like trying to convince the other. They're like, no, he's going to be fine. And then they're like, nah, he's going to be like the Dark Lord. And they're like, nah, he's going to be awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's important to really, you got to nail it with this first episode. There's so much out there.
Especially when you're building a whole world and characters, you've got to do something right there to just, make me want it. It's kind of like the Umbrella Academy. I didn't think it was an amazing show, but at least the first episode grabbed me enough to make me want to watch another episode.
Yeah, that's one I was thinking of because I couldn't get into the Umbrella Academy, just the tone of it. And I assume this one has like a dark comedy tone to it.
It seems more fantasy almost. It's almost fantastical, I would say. But not fantastic.
All right. So you're saying a cautionary, don't do it. I mean, take for granted. It's just a one episode.
Right. It could totally be somebody's bag, just as in mine. I got a bad omen from Good Omens.
Yeah, so maybe check it out, but don't plan an afternoon around binging it, is what Josh has said. Is that fair?
That is, I guess, fair.
Okay. We're down to the last segment of the show. It's what to watch this week. This is for the releases July 22nd through July 28th. Not a lot of new material that I thought was good, but if you're in the mood for some Quentin Tarantino, I got some suggestions for you. On Netflix, you have Inglorious Basterds, The Hateful Eight, and Pulp Fiction available to stream for free. So if you want to gear up for the theatrical release. And then an original called The Great Hack, which is described as the Cambridge Analytica scandal being examined through the roles of several affected persons. This is about the big Facebook data breach and looks pretty interesting. It's getting some good reviews, if that's something you're interested in.
Yeah, it does seem very powerful, although it'll continue your paranoia down the road of everything that you touch, click, and type is being logged somewhere, and then forcing ads into your face based on everything you touch, type, look, watch.
Yeah,
it's fucked up.
It's just funny, like the targeted ads that they're just trying to sell you a shitty T-shirt in the end.
Yeah, but it's
all this invasion of privacy just to sell you a fucking dumb T-shirt.
Yeah, dumb T-shirt or some just a lot of dumb shit. Yeah, but yeah. So I don't know, paranoia. Feed it. Yep. Watch The Great Hack.
Keeping with the Tarantino theme, Hulu has Reservoir Dogs. I think it holds up. I love that movie, so maybe revisit that if you're in the mood for Tarantino. And I think I'm going to rewatch all the Tarantino movies, similar to what I was doing earlier in the year with Shyamalan. I want to do a rank. I try to do it in memory, and I don't think it's fair.
Are you going to include? Well, are you going to include Death Proof?
Yeah, I like Death Proof a lot. It's an individual film,
Okay.
Over on Amazon Prime, Serenity. This stars Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. We've talked about this. I don't want to give away anything about it, but if you're a fan of like ill-advised movies that are so bad they're good, like if you like Gotti or Venom, this is the strongest contender for
Wild Things with Denise Richards and Neve Campbell.
Yeah, this movie is so fucked up, so it's a good one to watch with some friends and just I don't know what.
Digimon Bisou, cash and checks.
So much going on in this. It's just a fucking disturbing movie. So if that type of stuff is something you have to watch.
Why is it called Serenity?
There's so many questions that this movie invokes and does not answer at all. Also, Josh mentioned The Boys Season 1. is available now on Amazon Prime, and a film called A Vigilante, which is a very minimalist description here. A vigilante helps victims escape their domestic abusers.
That's the fucking one with
Olivia Wilde.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, seems pretty crazy.
Yep. HBO's got some streaming debuts of films that were out earlier this year and last year. With First Man, the story of the Neil Armstrong. It deals with his personal life and everything that was building up to the legendary space mission that put him on the moon, made him the first man. I like this film. It's a tough watch, though, if you're a fan of Ryan Gosling, when he does like stuff like Drive. Like, this is one of his, like... I wouldn't
compare the two.
He does it with all... What? You wouldn't?
I would not, because the intensity and build up and with somber tones that some of his other quiet movies have had, I don't think this has that particularly.
I think it's very similar to his performance in Drive, where he's like, it's all in the face and there's a lot of quiet moments. He doesn't talk a lot in it, and some people are just turned off by that type of performance or that type of movie.
Yeah. Well, if you like Gosling, you'll be fine. Yeah,
I dug it. Also on HBO is Red Sparrow, a movie that I think kind of just got brushed off that I really liked, starring Jennifer Lawrence. It's about a ballerina assassin from Russia, played by Jennifer Lawrence, and then she has a complicated business and romantic relationship with your boy Joel Edgerton, who plays a CIA agent. Very brutally violent and entertaining film that I think a lot of people just weren't fair to. I think it's hopefully it picks up some steam and some people check it out on streaming, because it didn't do too well in theaters, and I thought it was another really good Jennifer Lawrence performance in a fun movie.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with J-Lo there, man. Mm-hmm. J-Law.
And finally, speaking of movies that a lot of people missed, Widows is probably the best thing that we're going to talk about as far as our what to watch this week's.
You haven't seen The Boys yet. Fuck off.
Well, okay. Well, that's your pick. This is my pick. This is directed by Steve McQueen. It's set in contemporary Chicago. Amid a time of turmoil, 4 women with nothing in common except the debt left behind by their dead husband's criminal activities take fate into their own hands and conspire to forge a future on their own terms. I love this movie. Viola Davis delivers a great performance, along with Michelle Rodriguez, Elizabeth Debicki,
and Daniel Esmondis. Fucking what's his name?
It's loaded, man. You have this whole other political story going on with Colin Farrell and Robert Duvall, father-son shit going on, and then Brian Tyree Henry and Daniel Kaluuya are brothers. Yeah. It's a loaded cast. It's really cool, really well directed. It's strong. It's strong in every way a film can be strong, in my opinion. I thought the drama was great, the performances, the filmmaking was creative. Just a really great movie. That's one of my top 10, if not top 5, of last year.
Yeah, I totally enjoyed it. It was definitely a good flick. It's a good drama with some good intense moments and some good evil characters.
Yep, I agree. Over on a rental VOD, you got Longshot. I thought it was pretty mediocre rom-com.
Fuck all.
Yeah, with no, this is with Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, and then The Intruder with your boy,
the Quaid,
Dennis Quaid, playing an overtop person who is really attached to his home, despite selling it to a nice young couple.
They're not that nice.
All right.
They're not that nice.
I think you're a Dennis Quaid apologist. I think your relationship to him, it kind of dilutes your opinion of his characters.
I think your diluted opinion of characters.
Great retort. In theaters right now is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino, and something that we'll talk about next week, because that's something I'm going to watch. I'm also going to check out Crawl, hopefully, if it's still in theaters when I get a chance to go out and see it.
Crawl.
Yeah, and Hobbs and Shaw at some point too.
Hobbs and Shaw.
How about you, Josh? What are you going to check out? Maybe
Hobbs and Shaw.
We make no promises, but and some Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency.
Yeah, you better fucking finish that, bitch, because how can I continue book clubbing with you being behind the book club?
I think you can, but I don't know. I'm going to pull my weight. What do you think you're going to watch?
I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch Skin with Jamie Bell.
Okay.
And I'll continue the Fargo Localypse, as we're going to call it. And fuck, Frank, I don't know. Maybe Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, sounds good.
So that's more recommendations than I've ever fucking given. So I think that's enough.
It's almost like Josh feels like he doesn't get enough credit around here.
No, would never say that.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Hopefully we give you something to watch. And we'll talk to you guys. We'll talk at you guys next week.
We'll talk at everyone together.
Bye.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.